Hi, I'm back, and Amber's gone. This time we've swapped roles, but we brought back guest co-MC Hedgie Bartol. He's standing right here.
I'm back.
Hedgie's back. We also have special guest Professor Bob Hanson with Northern Michigan University. Bob, thanks for spending some time with us.
It's my pleasure.
And I know you wanted to thank the Academy.
I want to thank the Academy and all the people that helped our production. And I'm standing here as a representative of many people that have gone
Your music sounding okay. Thank you, Professor Hanson. You were wonderful. That's kind of like your classes. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the schedule for the rest of this afternoon. We have Keith White coming up to talk about the International Organization of Black Security Executives, the IOBSE, and he'll share some important insights with one of the partners and prominent members of the organization. Right after that, we're going to talk with Dan Faculty and our guest, Professor Bob Hanson, about Northern Michigan University and really education in the industry overall. How you get involved, the importance of the program, how it got started. All of those are really important things that I think those of you at home, on the expo hall floor, here in the room, jam-packed, all want to know about. And of course, if you want to tweet any comments, all the good ones come to me, LaRocca J. All the bad ones, you can still send them to Amber Virgillo. Notice she's not here. She's still answering them. So we're going to continue the day with Rich Meller, who's Senior Advisor at the National Retail Federation, talking about active shooters, and Jeff Fulmer and John Gold. Jeff Fulmer with Barnes & Noble, the chair of the NRF's Legislative Committee, and John Gold, who's Vice President of Government Relations, Supply Chain, and Customs Policy with the NRF. They're going to talk about legislative. Rich is going to talk about active shooter. And we've got some great sessions for the balance of the day. So you really don't want to tune out or miss a single minute of it. And I know down in the expo hall floor, they're winding up soon, but they're still watching right now. So you've got to stay tuned. But I'm going to take advantage of the fact that we have Hedgie, co-MC, Professor Hanson as our special guest. And, you now both have been at these conferences a number of years. That's not an age crack.
Wow. Okay.
But Hedgie, I'm going to start with you. You have been, for my entire time in the industry, I think you and I have kind of grown up together. Tell me, what do you get out of these conferences, and where are your sights set? What are you trying to learn while you're here?
Probably the biggest thing I get out of being at the NRF LP is the relationship building. One of the things that I tell a lot of folks that are looking to get into the industry and serve the industry, retail is different. Retailers, especially loss prevention professionals, they're faced with critical situations throughout most of the year. They've got a very full plate, lots of responsibilities to take care of, and unlike many other industries, in the trade show aspect, they allocate time to come to these shows, to learn from each other, to learn from the vendors, learn the technologies that are coming along, and most importantly, build relationships. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. They work with who they trust who they know. You're making a big mistake if you come to these shows and you don't make an effort to get out, and not that you need to go to the bars and drink, but take the time to go to the bars, meet folks, get to know them. It's not an opportunity for a sales pitch. It's not an opportunity to twist their arms into buying your product or your service, but it's an opportunity to learn from them, learn what they're faced with, who they are, what they need, and by all means, go to the sessions.
And I'm going to plug Hedgie. There are people that have mastered the art of networking, of establishing those relationships. And Hedgie is certainly, you're one of the very best at that activity. And I think most of the retail industry would probably agree with me. So, oh no, it's Amber. Get back on Twitter, answer those tweets. So, Professor Hanson, first of all, thank you for being here. I know you flew all the way down from Michigan. We're here in Florida. It's great weather here, isn't it?
We love it.
All right. I'm going to just call you out for a minute, because when I started with the NRF back in 2005, you were actually one of the first outside partners that we worked with, and a founding member of the Northern Michigan University LP Bachelor's Program, the first in the country. That was really exciting to see the evolution of that, and I know you have some great retail partners. You're going to talk a lot about it. But in addition to that program, you've also been a really committed attendee here at the conference. I'm sure you get a lot out of it. What do you take back to the university? What do you take back to the students and people that engage you afterwards?
Well, thank you for having me, Joe. It's an honor and a privilege to come to these conferences. And I'd have to acknowledge that when you can teach the professor something, it's a real accomplishment. And I get a lot of those personally and professionally, that over the years you develop friendships and connections that allow me to help students, our traditional students, find work in this career field, because the average student doesn't have any idea of the advantages of this career field, what the challenges and opportunities are. So that's helpful. I'm also able to take back ideas and connections for possible internships. And one of the biggest things that we've found, well, Northern is about 9,000 students. The Criminal Justice Department is about 500. And of that, about 50 are loss prevention majors. Most of those are working in the field. About 30% are new. And what happens is people like John Talamo and Rod Holm and Tina Sellers and Dan Faculty and these leaders in the industry, they come and they speak to the students, and then they get interested in it. So it's also in my role as the coordinator of the retail management degree program, loss prevention retail management degree, is it helps me keep current, because much like criminal justice, you can't just have, we're not talking about the War of 1812, because that's not going to change. Okay, we're talking about changes. And 10 years ago, I mean, organized retail crime, did anybody really talk about that? Did anybody talk about social media? And you have to stay current and you have to be relevant. And so those are the things. And personally, it's great to see people like you and others, individuals. We've known each other over the years, and NRF was key to the establishment of our degree program. And it's helped a lot of people advance in the field.
You know, that's really interesting and exciting to hear. I've seen over the years of my tenure here that the loss prevention profession has gone from, hey, we've kind of worked our way up through the stores and we figured out kind of how to maybe stop shrink and affect the bottom line of the organization, to a very structured profession with education to help you build into it and get to know the basics without having to necessarily work your way up from a store detective, so to speak. So it's exciting for me to see the structure that's come to the profession, and what people, especially like the folks you mentioned, the Dan Facultys, the Keith Whites of the world, who are willing to mentor and give back and help to bring that next round of profession into the industry. That's exciting.
Well, what's so important to me is, and you hear it in your voice, the passion for the work and how it's changed. Think about the time that you've been in, and in 20 years across loss prevention, the changes. You used to be able to find the loss control, loss prevention office, because that was the barely redecorated janitor's closet, right? And,
yeah.
And the cheesiest part of the building, and 1.5 watts of brilliance. They were knuckle draggers on the wall, and and the mall cop image. And now you've gone from the janitor's closet to the C-suite.
Absolutely.
That loss prevention is a key player in the way the business is conducted. And if people will you become more knowledgeable about the overall area of the overall business. So people can transition into store operations, they can transition into other corporate jobs, because nobody knows the business
Exactly.
the way you do. And what I see, the enjoyment of the job is the challenge. Every day is different.
You're dealing with the human factor out there.
The human factor, and look at the management factor. It used to be, let's lock stuff up. So what do? We locked up our product and we locked up people when we got the chance. And now you're getting people like at Lowe's that say it's a failure if we have to stop a shoplifter. That's
Absolutely.
a management failure. And you're leading the industry and the companies and the people that are successful, because in this environment, the competition environment, the pressure on prices, that shrink is going to make the difference between whether the business succeeds or fails. And that requires a level of engagement that narrow silo thinkers can't manage.
And not to cut you off and jump in here, but you really yeah, Amber actually told me to.
The music, no.
But you actually just kind of hit on one of my personal soapboxes. Having been in the security industry for a long time, and I've worked for companies that serve other industries besides retail, one of the things that a lot of folks in the security industry don't understand is the difference between retail security and general security. Most of your general security practitioners are tactical thinkers. Put the tools in place, stop the bad guy, catch the bad guy, arrest the bad guy. Loss prevention professionals are strategic thinkers because they're trying to protect that very thing that actually has to be readily available. You can't lock it up. You can't make it hard to get at. You know, the culture of security is very different in retail. You walk into a bank, you expect what you need to be behind 6 sides of steel, interface with a person to get it, maybe bullet-resistant glass and an armed guard. If you had those things in your retail environment, your shoppers wouldn't come in your store anymore. So the loss prevention professional is a very unique security profession, and it's exciting to see what you guys are doing there at Northern Michigan, even though it is in the frozen tundra. Yeah.
And I know we need to wrap up this segment in just a minute, but I think what Professor Hanson and Hedgie have talked about, so important. But you know what? The one thing that all of you can do, whether you're watching this on the internet live or you're watching it in delay, get involved. You can watch the sessions here at the conference, the sessions today being recorded. Go to the NRF website, look at the surveys, read the material, go to the NMU website. Look at the material available today. There are careers in loss prevention available nationwide, worldwide, at every level. You want to start part-time, hourly, working in the business, anywhere in the country. You want to work at the corporate office, if you have a flair for IT, a flair for analytics, a flair in the supply chain. Hedgie said it. We're not just looking for, as Professor Hanson put it, the knuckle draggers. We've all graduated to the executive offices, in some cases the C-suite. I started in the mailroom, worked up from there. Well, NLP, no, that NLP. You know, we're going to make him the co-MC. That's what we're going to do right now. At NMU, Professor Hanson, I'm making that up. Okay, so we're going to turn it back over to Gus. He's got the next segment. Stay tuned for a lot more this afternoon. Gus, back to you.